undergrad versus PhD. For those of you that don't know, this is my lovely cousin Naya. Her name is Mia.
Hi guys!
She has her own YouTube channel. Check it out. Subscribe.
I am a student at USF. Go Bulls! Woo!
I went to UCF, the real, actual great school. Go Knights! Charge!
Go Bulls!
I go to University of Maryland. I'm getting my Ph.D. in human development.
It's a long
Education
name.
Psychology.
It's a long name.
Add-on certificate in cognitive neuroscience. So that's me.
Anytime someone asks me what is Tori studying, I'm like,
I literally
neuroscience, psychology, cognitive, spatial.
But basically, yes.
I am an undergraduate student. I'm also an international student. My major is business analytics and information systems. I have a minor in leadership studies. Talking to Tori and observing her schedule, things are kind of a bit different in terms of what we're involved in, our priorities, and our day-to-day activities. So,
yeah.
Let's go.
Okay, so how many hours do you spend studying?
That's a loaded question.
Is it? How many hours do you spend doing classwork?
Oh, doing classwork.
Yeah. Including studying for that class.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say 10 to 15 hours a week doing schoolwork. And then some weeks are different,
More.
when you have an exam, yeah. How many hours a week
I spend? So, doing classwork or anything involving class, our classes itself are 3 hours long. So they're 6 hours.
Yeah. And my classes are 1 hour and 15 minutes long.
Yeah. I'm only taking 2 classes, and then my other one is a research class. So 6 hours, and then if I have homework that week, then maybe an extra 2 hours. So 8 hours. But usually it stays at that 6.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 hours and 30 minutes. But yeah, outside of class, I don't spend a lot of time on my work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? That's very interesting because when you think of grad students, the picture that I've gotten so far, asking people, they always say, oh, they're so, work intensive, that kind of stuff. So is it that your time goes to other things that are related to your degree and your development and knowledge of the field, but it's just not necessarily classwork, if that makes any sense?
Yeah, it's exactly that. So it's one of those things where they tell you when you go in, other grad students, make sure you drop. When you're an undergrad, you care about what grades you get, and you want to put in, the work for your classes and stuff, and, the first thing they tell you is stop caring about classes, stop caring about grades. Do the bare minimum to get by, which is a hard adjustment, but, yeah, essentially, you want to put all your time into the other, responsibilities you have, which is, doing research, teaching. How much time do I spend with friends? 0. I'm joking, I do have people or whatever, but it's a weird balance because I think it's been hard to try to figure it out myself of yes, I want to hang out, I want to build a relationship, I complain about when I can't do that, but then at the same time when opportunity comes, you're it
has to be really intentional. Yeah, I think that's the difference. It has to be really intentional for her. For me, I'm bombarded by friends so much that sometimes it's difficult to even get my work done or the things that I want to do apart from assignments because, well, for one, she lives off campus, I live on campus. That's a totally different dynamic in and of itself. I have someone in my room 24/7. I live on a floor with other undergraduate students. When you walk in, there's a student there, you walk to class, you see a friend, you walk to the dining hall, there's someone sitting there, and everyone always has something that they want to do together. Oh, do you want to do this tonight? Oh, do you want to do this? Oh, Saturday we're going to, but
it's the literal opposite. You're saying, okay, I'm bombarded by socialization, and I have to intentionally make time for work, whereas, with us, you're bombarded with work, and you have to intentionally make time for social, because everyone else in your program, most people of mine are older, at least a
with
little
other
bit.
responsibilities.
With families, a spouse.
Yeah, I don't have to plan intentionally going, spending time with friends. I have to plan intentionally doing schoolwork. It's definitely really different. It's really about having the kind of experience that you want to have. You could have a different experience in undergrad, yeah, sure, but you'll be denying a lot of people every single day. You might even end up really lonely. A lot of different things, it's So it depends on what kind of experience you want, because I know someone, like for example, he's in architecture, and his program is like really intensive, even though it's an undergraduate program, and so he spends a lot of time like in the studio, you know, so his experience is different from me also. So it just depends.
Your program. Yeah, 'cause when I was an undergrad, it was very like work intensive, but I think what helped with the balance was because you are in an environment where everyone has work, so it's like easy to just be like, hey, let's study together, you know, and like, I don't know, but which I mean should be the same in grad school, but they just want to go home. Like, most people don't go to the campus unless they have to be there.
The next question: what's your first thought when choosing classes?
How does this relate to research? That's my first thought. Does this relate to my research?
Does it relate to research? Okay. For me, it's kind of what's mandatory for me to finish my degree. How does that work? Do you have like mandatory classes? Obviously you do.
Yeah.
But like
that's my second thought. Like, so you have the things that you have to do. I think in asking like, does this relate to my research? Because you get to choose like, okay, the mandatory, the one that like I actually want to do, and then because we have, at least in my program, not every program is like this. So I know some cohort like colleagues that don't have as much liberty, but we have a lot of electives in ours.
For me, a lot of your undergraduate experience is about connections and getting to know like people so that you could advance in your career and that kind of stuff. And so for me, like how I pick classes is, you know, is the professor well known? Do I know anyone else that's in that class? Do they do like, will I actually be able to like meet people, if that makes any sense, especially as an international student? Or my main goals is to build like a community and network here, because I kind of start, you know, well, a lot of people start from scratch when you go into undergraduate university. But
I mean, you don't have your family.
I don't have my family, that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking about, okay, what's the best way to get an internship?
We know all of our professors too, personally. So like when I'm taking the classes, it's gonna be one of the people that I've already interacted that's teaching the class. So I think that makes it easier too. Because I used to definitely be on Rate My Professor.
Oh yeah, I was on Rate My. I'm always on Rate My Professor.
If you don't have a 4.5 or higher, I am not taking you.
And you know what's the worst? Like when there's only one professor option and their Rate My Professor is like 3, 2.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, can I take this next semester? Why did you choose your university?
So I went to community college for like maybe like a year and a half before I went to USF. I was at the point where I was like, okay, I don't even want to finish my associate's degree. I just wanted that kind of university experience. I was like, I'm ready to leave, you know? I wanted to stay in Florida. And there were like, you know, a few options, like for example University of Miami, Florida International, UCF, USF. My aunt, Victoria's mom, convinced me to do some out-of-state options. I mean, either way I would be considered an out-of-state student no matter where I go because I'm international, but out of Florida. So I applied for Georgia State and Rutgers. I just ended up going to USF because just by a process of elimination I just wanted to stay in Florida. USF didn't need my SAT scores.
That's great.
Yeah, for Caribbean students they take CXC exams.
It was the only education program that I applied to. Everything else was just like pure cognitive neuro, and we always had like this implication statement at the end of our studies where it's like, this study is meant to impact the world in these areas, but like you don't actually get to do that. And so like our application process is quite different, and one of the main differences is that you actually talk to the person that you want to work with before applying to the school. And as I was talking to Kelly, who's like my now advisor, like she just seemed so passionate about what she was doing and in actually applying her research to help students, and that's what I wanted to do. And I was like, wow, this would be a really cool opportunity to learn. You go to school because you want to be with this like specific person and learn from them. And then the program is just like a plus and like a benefit.
Yeah, I mean for me, my first major when I started off was business administration, then finance, and like, you know, you could
move around.
Yeah, you can do that anywhere. What's one thing that we don't like about our experience? You don't like being lonely?
I don't like being the only black person in my whole program. Like that's kind of crazy. Or the only person studying the type of thing that like I wanted, which is, it's cool, but also because you feel like a different level like responsibility, I would say. I don't like how isolating it can feel in this program, because kind of what we were talking about before, like you want to be able to socialize and make friends, but you also know the trade-off is, you know, not being able to further your career, because it's kind of like you're your own boss. It's like you're an entrepreneur. Like the work that you put in is the output that you're going to get out. Being away from family and from friends and loved ones, like it makes it that much harder. And I think if I could have all these same demands but be in Florida or be around like people that I already know and have established relationships with, it would make this process a lot easier. So I think being away from everything would probably be my biggest dislike about my experience.
For me, two things. One, I don't always enjoy how broad undergrad studies are. I feel as though I kind of wasted 2 or so years of my life learning things that I learned in high school. Learning things that I learned in high school. I mean, I've done everything I've learned in English composition 1 and 2 before.
That's true.
I've learned every college algebra, useless. I already did all of that. I understand why it can be beneficial, but for someone, I'm already someone that likes to learn in general. So I'm always going to read different books on different topics. I understand that it's about like broadening your perspective, making you able to have different conversations, but I already do that on my own time. So I feel as though like my degree should be really focused, helping me to strengthen something that I want to become an expert in. And the second thing would probably be how social it is. Social? Yeah. I'm a little bit of a ambivert and kind of leaning towards introvert side sometimes. So sometimes I actually get like burnout and overwhelmed. Yeah. Just like this, okay guys? It could be really overwhelming just with a lot of people and everyone wanting to hang out and do different things because no. It's so communal, especially when you live on campus. It's just like you have to really be intentional and sometimes hurt people's feelings or just have FOMO because you're not involved if you want to, you know, like actually, you know, do things well.
After this degree, what do you want to do with your life? Is it to further education? Are you done with education? Are you what do you want to do? What are your plans? Hey, Miss Junior in college, tell me what your life goals are.
My ideal situation would be not necessarily to do grad school right now. I feel as though there's a high possibility that I will. I just don't know what I would do. And I'm at the point where I feel as though I need the space to be able to apply what I'm learning. Maybe that would change after I get an internship next summer and just have a few months of like actual hands-on learning. I'm just fed up of like kind of just reading stuff and doing assignments. I just want some time where I could have some hands-on experience. So at this point right now I would prefer to like do a year of work before I do my master's. However, you know, that could change once I do an internship and I'm like, okay, I could go back to school now.
Do a PhD.
I do want to do a PhD just because I see myself like what I want to do in the future requiring that kind of academic respect.
For me, what I want to do in my future, I don't know. My friends and I have a joke where we're like, yeah, we go to grad school to give ourselves more time to think, figure out our lives. No, but like in all seriousness, like you can go into a lot of different fields from your PhD, which is not really something that's talked about. A lot of people just assume like you're gonna go into academia and be a professor and things like that. And while it is cool, I don't think that's necessarily where my heart is like 100%. Like this is what I want to do. So still exploring. I think it honestly depends on where my research goes. What I learn in these next 4, 5, 6 years. Thank you guys for watching. This is our undergrad grad test. Woo! Like, comment, subscribe to her and me the whole night.
It'll be in the description.
It will be in the description. We'll see you guys next time. Life is not meant to be done alone, so let's do it together. Bye.
Bye.